Hi everyone, welcome to session 4BB, a day in the life of a modern mainframe COBOL developer. So I'll pass you over to the presenters to introduce themselves, and if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat and we'll be interrupting the speakers to capture those questions as they come up. Okay, thank you.
So thank you, Stuart. So hi all. Welcome to the day in the life of modern mainframe COBOL developer session. My name is Dejan Milinkovic, and together with my colleague Lukáš Zima, we are working in the Broadcom mainframe division in the product management for a new developer experience in the DevOps area.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the session.
Most of today's session will be a demo, or at least we hope that it will be most of the session, and I will be speaking not so much. My colleague Lukáš will be today playing a role of a modern developer, and we will walk you through the set of processes, set of tools, practices, and a set of terminology what the modern developer would use while highlighting the tools and the processes that are enabling or empowering that particular journey. But before we will go to the demo, let's set some context for the demo. Okay, so if you look at the software developer lifecycle, the trigger for any change, it's basically a requirement. This requirement can be a feature request or a bug, a defect, what is managed by a tool as Microsoft TFS or Jira or Rally. And the developers get assigned a particular task, and using his or her favorite IDE to make those code changes, build those changes, debug them and test, and validate that the changes are actually really working and push them into the repository. The idea there is that it's going from the individual developer sandbox into the team environment where those changes are merged with the other developers' changes, and CI/CD pipeline is kicked off where test will run once everything is validated and checked out, and the artifacts will be pushed to the binary repo. From there, the last phase of the release pipeline will be kicked off, where the build artifacts are now deployed into the pre-production environment, where the attributes are system test, performance test, regression test, or load testing, and of course user acceptance tests. And these artifacts are being done before it's pushing into the production environment. If you look at this set of activities, it's obvious that it's distributed centric, if we can call it like that. But if you, give me a sec, I just lost my mouse. But if you look but if you think in the way of traditional mainframe source code management tools, all of these steps are integrated into the one tool. So the concept from the point of the view, it's not something new for the mainframe world. But we are going to look at is how the new age developer will adapt and go through these particular processes. What kind of tools it will be playing a role, and what are the changing dynamics in the marketplace. So as a part of that, we'll look on importance and influence of the open source on the mainframe, and the emerging trend of the browser-based IDEs. We will be also looking on the smooth transitioning from a personal into the team-based environment and see how seamless integrated this is. And in the end of the process, we can see how to include the detection of the performance issues within the life cycle as a part of the pipeline. This is something what we are going to talk of. So it's not a secret that the open source is dominating the application development world. There are many statistics that show a lot of companies and enterprises are embracing the open source, not only using the open source tools, but also contributing to. And in the developer's mindset, or from a developer's perspective, they are higher quality than a proprietary tooling. And when I mean the quality, I just don't, it's not, because the quality in this point of the view, it's not only about the bugs, but also about the currency, adopting and embracing the technology evolution, what is happening in the marketplace. And of course, it's easier in the open source world because of the community nature. So it's easier for the open source to adapt and embrace technology evolutions much easier and quicker than the proprietary tools. Talking about the open source is great, but how is this related to the mainframe world? And then when the Zoe is coming into the picture, and the key purpose of Zoe is to have the mainframe look like as any other platform. And it's not only from the development tooling perspective, but it includes also the testing, automation, CI/CD pipeline, interaction, everything. And as part of that, Zoe is enabling modern developer tools to be adopted in the mainframe world. You are maybe wondering what is the benefit of that? So first thing is that by leveraging a set of open source tools on the mainframe is going to accelerate a software delivery via automation. The other key thing is that is going to happen, what is going to happen is that an enterprise, as an enterprise, you are now standardizing and aligning the same set of tools across the platforms. So same thing will be on the distributed side, while also on the mainframe side. And important is that the mainframe is no longer a silo. Open source is something what the new age application developers wants and understand. This is what they learn either on the universities or on previous job experience. This is what they use, what they are trying. So having an environment where what will actually welcome these new age developers on the platform while enabling them to use the same techniques, processes, and tooling their use, it will make their life much easier and for when they are starting on the mainframe platform. So that's basically the whole idea about embracing open first approach. When looking at the current state of the application development, there is an ISPF. There has been always an ISPF, and it will be still ISPF also in the future. And there are people who are super efficient in ISPF, then pushing to them to use something else will not be probably the productive or good idea. But there are also people who are using IDEs what are based on the Eclipse. A few years back, these were considered as modern IDEs, but due to the current technological evolution and things what are happening on the marketplace, those ideas are becoming primitive from a today technological standards point of the view. So what's the future of the application development? Currently, we are seeing two main trends. One is the VS Code, which is the most popular IDE according to the Stack Overflow's researches. And yes, it is a rich client IDE, but it's lightweight. It's easy to manage. It's easy to learn from the application development perspective. From the enterprise perspective, to eliminate the need for the maintenance of the rich client IDEs, browser-based IDEs trend is actually picking up. Advantage is not only centralized management, but also rapid onboarding of new developers into the project. And the best part is that look and feel is the same as the most popular IDE, what is Visual Studio Code. So that means that the learning curve for adoption is almost zero. And from our, I mean, Broadcom perspective, we are extending these IDs so the users can work with them to maintain and build mainframe applications. We are going to look on today's demo. We are going to look mostly on from the IDE point of the view, but the other thing to have in mind is how to include the performance detections as a part of the CI/CD cycle, and then how and what is detected by a CI/CD cycle can be enabled, can enable a developer to do a performance detection based on the Zowie CLI capabilities. Yeah, so we are going to the demo part where my colleague Lukáš, as a developer, he will be assigned it. He get a feature request to update an COBOL application. COBOL application is a COBOL CICS application, and like most of the mainframe applications today, it has 3-70 web and mobile interface. The mobile interface is used by drivers to update the business. So when they finish the delivery of the oil to their customers, they are using the application to and update the information there. What happened is that the drivers requested the application to be updated to show more information about the delivery, like to include the unit price and the number of gallons what they have delivered to the customer. So, Luki, all's yours.
All right. So thank you very much, Dan. I will share my screen.
Before Luki will start, are there any questions or anything before we go to the demo?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, yes, there is nothing in the chat. I guess that we can go, Luki. Go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, confirming.
So thank you once again, Dan, and welcome everybody on the demo. So as Dan already mentioned, I will try to go to walk you through the developer task, which is to update this Slick Oil application. As you can see, and as mentioned, this application has a web UI interface, as well as green screen, as well as a mobile application. So here you can see that you have some fields to be updated, and then finally you will submit, and it will give you some kind of confirmation message for the driver. And so this is just a demo application that that should demonstrate how the client's real application should look like. The application itself, the source code, is stored on Endevor, and through the connection with the Git bridge, let me just go through this as it goes. The Endevor repository is synchronized with the Git bridge, so that it's synchronized with the Git repository. As you can see, this is the Slick Oil application, the Slick Oil Git repository, which I have set it through Git bridge. So it's going to be synchronized with this GitHub repository, as you can see here. So the very first thing I want to do as a developer is to start working with this repository, right? And I want to use my Visual Studio Code. As Dan already mentioned, I have two choices here. I can either use Eclipse Shell, which is running right here in my browser, or I can use Visual Studio Code, which is right here on my desktop. So I have a choice. For this demo, I will use Visual Studio Code. As you can see, I already have installed Code4Z package, which is an extension package that contains 5 different packages. One COBOL language support, which provides a syntax awareness for COBOL. The same set of functionality we also provide for assembler language. Then we have Zoe Explorer, which helps me to go through the data sets and do some basic operation on files on mainframe. You have Explorer for Endevor, which will help me to go through the Endevor repository and list elements. And finally, you have a debugger for mainframe that helps me to debug the code. So in this demo, I will show you all those 4. There is no assembler in demo, so just those 4 extensions. You can even install more from us. There's, for example, COBOL control flow, which helps you to navigate through the code. I will show you in the demo. Or you can have a syntax support for GCL or Rex as well. These extensions are not part of the Code4Z package. However, you can just easily install it on your own. So my task starts from the empty workspace. I have to open the workspace, which I prepared. It's just empty folder, GSE demo. So as I open it, it should be empty. And the first thing I want to do is clone this repository to my workspace, right? So I will do it through terminal with a regular command like git clone and the repository. And as you can see, it will update my workspace with the repository from GitHub, which is synchronized with the Endevor. So basically, I see content of the Endevor right now. So let me just switch to a different branch that I prepared GSE demo for this purpose, and I'll just fetch again. All right. Any questions so far? This was just a quick introduction that each developer should do when he starts. And now our extension will come into play. So as you can see in my workspace, I have the copy of the repository, so I can go and see the program that I want to work with. And it's this Slick PD COBOL. If I click it, it will open, and you can see right away that the COBOL language extension has been activated. Also, there's some message that it's going to scan the code and search for any errors or information that I should need. I can also see the different coloring for keywords and the variables and etc. So you have different colors for different types of keywords. As you can see, I have some errors here. It's because the system also is able to recognize content of the copybooks. It helps us to be more precise with the syntax awareness. However, for the first time, we need to tell the system where the copybooks are located. In this case, I know that those 3 copybooks are in the same repository, in the same workspace. The system just doesn't know it's there. Just this 3rd one, it's not here, it lives on the mainframe. So let me first resolve those copybooks so that the system knows where it should find it. this is the settings for the COBOL language support. And it's asked for the path, for the local path, relative path of the copybooks. So I can add item and I can just copy relative path, paste it here. And if I open the sleep PD again, it would resolve all those three, but this one stays unresolved because it's not there. It's not in this folder. It's on the mainframe. So in order to resolve the last copybook, I need to provide the dataset name where the copybook is stored and profile with the credentials so that the system can connect and download it. I have my profiles in Zoe Explorer. Zoe Explorer is another extension which is part of the Code4Z. So if I want to connect to mainframe, I can just click on this tab, and you see I have two different profiles. One is that two different L parts basically I need to connect to. So the first one I need to connect here. I can click this button and I can search for example, for any COBOL files underneath my PMF key. So I can search different COBOL COBOL files, for example. I can copy those files to different data sets. I can allocate new data sets, for example. I can show dataset attributes, etc. So in my case, and also I can save these searches for later. So if I click the star, it will be saved to favorites. So if I open my favorites, you can see that there are favorites on TSO1, and I already have this folder there. However, for this case, I need probably this data sets. As you can see, there is the, this is the copybook that I'm missing here. So I need to tell the system where the copybook is living on mainframe. So I can do it easily. I can either rename and copy the dataset name, or I can show the dataset attribute, and I can just copy paste the dataset name from here. And again, if I go to settings, I can go through here or from regular settings here. I can provide I can provide the profile name, which is TSO1, as you can see here, and I can add this path. I just copied here, and it starts to fetch the copybooks. If I close it, it should disappear, but as I see, the error now is different. The reason is that now I can see the copybook. It has been downloaded locally in some hidden folder, so the system can see the content of the copybook. But it actually recognizes that there's error inside of the copybook. So I can go to the definition and I can see the copybook itself and see that there's some problem. In this case, it's a format problem, so it's not really a real problem for me as a developer. Back to the COBOL language support. As I mentioned, you see different coloring. You can go to definition even inside of different copybooks. In this case, I go to definition of this copybook. And it also gives you some kind of autocomplete. So when I start to type, it will gives you a list of statements or keywords that you can use. So it can help you with the development of longer statements from COBOL. So what I probably want to do in sake of the demo, I want to update the message, right? That the driver will see in the application, the user will see. It has a lot of rows, so I don't know where the message is. So I can leverage the other tool that I mentioned, the COBOL language, COBOL control flow. If I click this option, the right click option, it will generate a map of the COBOL file that I'm browsing. You can zoom in, zoom out, you can collapse or expand the tree, and you can see the structure of the code. So it can kind of help me. In this case, it's pretty simple, but imagine if you have a file with thousands of lines, which COBOL programs very often is, right? So it can really help you out to navigate throughout the code. In this case, I want to update the account. This is if I go back to application, this is something that sounds that updates the order, right? So probably I would like to go in this area. So if I click the node, it will brings me to the very place where I want to go. It actually works the other way around. If I trigger it from here, it will generate the map with highlighted this node. But in this case, I want to go here. I don't need COBOL control flow anymore. So I will close it, and I see that this is probably the part of the code which updates the message that the driver or the user will see in the end. Account updated successfully, and it provides some kind of other information, such as what the date it is and how many units have been used, etc., etc. For this demo, I will just update the error message, the comment, just because I don't want to really change the code itself. So I will just change this message like this is comment from live, and I will save it. What I would do next is hold on, why I don't see it here? I should see it here, right? Wow, now I'm confused. It's weird.
Because have you got the right branch selected in your source control? Sometimes you don't see it if you're using, if it's set to main, or in the source control. I don't know. That's what I've had in the past. When the branch is the wrong one.
I just need to refresh it. It's sorry. It
never okay. Yeah.
Wow, this is weird. It never happened again before. So maybe it was just like frozen for a while. Okay, so I see the change here. So thank you anyway. So I have two choices here. I can either do it through command line, like most of the developers probably prefer, or I can use the UI of Visual Studio Code, so I can stage the changes, and I can just put some demo comment update, right? And I can commit the change, and I can just push. So I can push back to GitHub repository. So what's going on behind on the cover is that now this GitHub repository is synchronized through the Git bridge with the Endevor. So I can quickly check my changes through another extension that I mentioned earlier, and that's the Explorer for Endevor. So as you can see, again, I have already defined my profile to access the Endevor. I just didn't create a profile during the demo. We just click the plus button and provide the URL and username and password. Nothing really special here. So what I want to do, I want to select the configuration, which is WebSMFNE, and I want to drill down through the Endevor repository to see if my change has been really propagated back. And before I do that, actually, I need to run build command from Zoe Endevor CLI. So I guess you all heard about Zoe before, right? So I have my Zoe installed on the terminal as well. And I have two plugins that I need for being able to create an Endevor build. So if I just list my plugins, you can see that I have Endevor for Zoe CLI and also Endevor Git bridge for Git for Zoe CLI. So what I really want to do now, before I will show you the magic here, I want to do the Endevor build because I don't remember the syntax from top of my head. I have a cheat sheet and I will just copy paste it from here. So this command will trigger Zoe Endevor bridge Git, and it will do the build, it will execute, and this is the path for the Endevor instance. As you can see, this is the instance, and subsystem, environment, system, and finally, excuse me, it uses the Endevor profile TSO1, which is also defined here. So this way, I should be able to create the Endevor build and propagate my change from Visual Studio Code, from my local to this development branch right here. So I'll just let it finish. As you can see, it generates some kind of reports as well. So if there's any problem, or I just want to verify what's going on, I can still open the Endevor folder and see the reports, and it will just provide me information about the build, and I can see it was RC0, so everything was okay. So I believe now I can go again to the Endevor Explorer and try to see if my change has been propagated all the way down to Endevor. So this is the Slick application, and it should be right here. This is the Slick PD. If I browse, it should open up the source code all together with the Endevor metadata. So you can see this is metadata coming from Endevor. And if I scroll down, hopefully, yeah, I can see my messages that have been sent to Endevor. Finally, what I want to do debugging, right? As I promised, I will show you another extension from Code4Z, which is debugger for Mainframe. It's hidden again on this tab, which is regular default tab from Visual Studio Code for debugging. So I need to create a LAN JSON to define where to connect. As you can see, there are two options. In this debugger for Mainframe is basically an interface for CA intertest for batch or for kicks. I have two options. I can work with both batch and kicks. This is a kicks transaction, so I have to choose the kicks settings. And it gives me the pre-populated settings file where I just need to provide all those values for where the intertest host is running, what is the port, what is the username, etc. Again, just to save some time, I have it hidden here, so I don't have to remember everything. I will just copy paste my settings from past. So I'll just copy paste the values here. So I will use this intertest server with this port, with this username, and this is the application ID, and this is the program name. So I will save it. Before I will continue, I need to make sure that the intertest server is actually up and running. So there is a interface for the intertest. So if I just provide this URL and try to reload it, it should come up with some landing page. As you can see, the site can be reached, which means that the intertest server is not running. So again, I have to go to Zoe Explorer and start up the intertest server. And for this one, I can again go to my favorites because this is something that I use often, and go and search for the JCL that starts the intertest server. And this intertest server will be used for the debugging. So there is this JCL. You can see again highlighting, which comes from the JCL language support tool that I mentioned earlier. So I have also the syntax awareness for JCL. And I can right-click this member and submit the job, which is another feature of the Zoe Explorer. As you can see, it gives me the job number and it will brings me to another part of the Zoe Explorer jobs where you can see everything active on mainframe, all jobs that are running on mainframe, as well as their output, like you are used to from SysView. So this one I can close already, and I can go to this page and see if it's running. Yeah, my intertest is running and ready for debugging. So I have my connection prepared. So what I want to do now is fetch the extended source from the intertest. To do it, I will press F1 and start to type fetch. And it gives me again some kind of options. Fetch extended source, this is what I want. It asks for the password. The username is clear, it's in the settings. This is my username, my password is right there. I will just provide it, and it should fetch the extended source from the intertest. This is already contains the metadata and proxims from intertest, so it's a little bit bigger than the original source. And even here, I can leverage the COBOL control flow. So as it is longer than the original file, it can be even harder for me to navigate. So I can again go to probably the place where I want to put my breakpoints. This is the place already where I can put my breakpoints and start with the debugging. Again, so this is the session, this is the message which I want to debug. I can provide breakpoints on different places like here or here, and I can even do different types of breakpoints. I can, if I do edit breakpoints, I can change the type of the breakpoints to put some kind of expression to specify if the variable is equal to some number, for example, then stop. I can specify hit count, so only stop on this line if it's hidden like 3 times, for example. So I will skip the first 2 occurrences and stop on the third one. And finally, I can do some log message again, so I can print out this is my value, and I can put there, I don't know, for example, work date if I want to. So I'll keep this log message just for reference, but I will set up the breakpoint here. In this moment, I'm ready to run the debugging. So I will click this run button, and it will start to connecting to the intertest. This blue bottom line should turn orange once it's connected to the intertest and listening for the kicks transaction. So it takes a few seconds. Now it's listening, so it's waiting for me to start the transaction. So I go back to my application. I will just provide a customer phone number. I will provide the date, which is, I don't know, 11, 12, 20, I guess today, and some number of gallons, how much I want to do. Then I will submit. This submission will trigger the kicks transaction, which I'm waiting for. So if I just go somewhere else in the code, it should stop on the first breakpoint that has been hit. So this is actually, now I have all the options that you would expect from the debugging. I can go, I can continue, I can go next. I can see values of variables, and I can even set them to watch. So if I just set this to watch list, it will appear here. Now it's empty. If I step over and once more, I guess, then I get this updated message. I can even list the variables from here. I see all variables here, and I can even modify it. So if I double click it, I can put there my extra value test, I don't know, test 1. If I hit to continue, it will, oh, and you can see here that it print out my custom message. If I hit to continue, it will finish, probably if it doesn't stop on the breakpoint again, it will finish the transaction, and here I should be able to see the updated message from the debugging. So you can see this is the change I did during the debugging itself. So it was a lot of things that I just shown. Any questions so far? You've seen in action already COBOL language support, Zoe Explorer several times. I used to submit JCL to search for data sets and see the content of data sets on mainframe. I was able to list the Endevor repository through this command, and finally I was able to debugging. What's missing in the flow? Probably, if I'm happy with my changes, I want to merge the changes that I did and create a PR and submit submit the pipeline that will actually continue with the rest of the process. So here I can, this is my branch that I changed, right? So I can compare and pull. I'm not sure if I don't have to do now the manual change. Yeah, I have to resolve the conflicts manually. Okay. Anyway, so this is basically the last things that the developer would do. By the way, my colleague is running another GSE session right now on the similar repository, so I hope that I don't trigger any problems to her. So I've did this merge to the main branch, and the last part of the flow would be to run the Jenkins pipeline, which can create a build, and then all my changes are basically done. The pipeline can be again quite big. This one, oh, go away. This thing I just submitted is just to create a basic deploy, but you can also extend it with other tools that we provide. It just takes some time, so it's not part of my demo. As you can see, we can put in the pipeline even MUT plugins to check the code for the efficiency, and some other tests and etc. etc. So the pipeline can be really containing many other options that I don't really have time to go through now. So I think that's it from my demo. Do you have any questions, or Dan, did I forget anything?
Lucas, do you also want to show a little bit the Eclipse share? I know that you showed quickly, but if you want to.
Well, I can, but honestly, it wouldn't be that interesting because, as you can see, it looks completely the same way as Visual Studio Code. This is the Explorer for the files. I can open the file, see the very same content. There is the Zoe Explorer, there is Endevor Explorer, and debugging. Everything works pretty much same way as in Visual Studio Code. The only difference is that it's running inside of the browser. And as Dejan mentioned during the presentation, this is more up to your strategy in the company if you would like to leverage those cloud-based IDEs, which are now really on rise, and that you can take advantage of having an IDE that's centralized, managed, and one admin can set up the environment for the whole company and for every employee. Or if you rather stick to the classical Visual Studio Code approach.
Okay, so I can see that we have still like 14 minutes. I was more pointing Luki on if you want to show the the different stacks in the Eclipse share, how you can create. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
If you want to show in Eclipse share how you can create the different stacks, from the
the
default stacks workspaces.
Sure. Eclipse share is pretty simple. So what if you are the user, you will be given by the administrator the URL. For example, I will just go from here. I have my servers here, and this is a nightly server that we use for development. So you see something like this. You just need to log in, and once you're there, it will bring you to the welcome page or some kind of dashboard. I already have some predefined workspaces here. I use it quite often, but if you are using for the first time, you probably go to the Get Started page, which is right here. And from here, you can go and select a predefined stack according to what kind of program or language you are supposed to work with. If you are working with Java, C++, or PHP or whatever. In our case, we are working with Mainframe, right? So if I click this Mainframe basic stack, which is already part of the Eclipse share. So if you install brand new instance of Eclipse share, this will be part of it. And this Mainframe basic stacks contains Code4Z. So all those extensions that I've been just showing are part of the default settings of Eclipse share. So if I just click this this guy, it will basically create the workspace as you can see here. Right? This is the default workspace. But your administrator probably can or wants more. So there's of course ways how to create your custom workspace. So you can provide that custom dev files that can be generated easily, which have more plugins, and yeah, there are lots of things that you can do around, so that you can combine different plugins together. If you want to have Java support in your Mainframe custom stack as well, for example.
Thank you, Luki.
You're welcome.
Okay, I cannot see any questions on the chat so far, so I guess that we are going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Well, you can still ask. I will try to switch, share my screen, back the presentation. Oh, and it might take some. Okay, it allowing me only to share the screen, so I hope that the resolution will not be different now. So let me know what you can see.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, that's good. I can see it.
Okay, cool, perfect.
So I think we have 10 minutes for the end of the session, right? So
yeah, so I will just quickly summarize that what we saw was a journey of a modern COBOL application developer, what was using, in this case, Visual Studio Code as a modern IDE. And what we saw was how the open source tooling is providing modern developer flexibility of IDEs, and how it's making it from a Mainframe just another platform. And again, it's not just only for the development, but also for the validation, CI/CD pipeline, and many other things. The key thing is that understand is that the open source is disruptive, and it's changing the Mainframe application development landscape significantly. And the reason is that it's important that it actually represents the mindset of the new generation of the developers who are coming to the platform. Open source technologies are providing the enterprises the flexibility to do the Mainframe development in the same way and with the same tooling as on the other platforms, along with the centralized management capabilities. And as this is what you just saw, open source, you can feel free to go download it, try it, and give us a feedback. And by that, I want to thank you for staying with us on today's session. If you have some questions, please do ask. If you find out some questions maybe later, please feel free to contact us, and we can discuss more, of course, even the ideas what you might have. Do not forget to share your feedback on this session. The session number is 4BB, and of course, as these are the hard times, there are still people who need our help, you know, so do not forget also to support the different charities, even the ones for this proposed by the GSC conference, or for example, the Movember, but it's not so seen from my face. I forgot to shave, sorry, but the mustache is there. Okay. I guess that's everything from our side.
Thank you very much. Really interesting to see the capability from you know, Visual Studio Code with the modern editing and capabilities of version control. So that's certainly an alternative way to ISPF edit sessions for controlling the development process. Excellent.
Right. Thank you very much for this opportunity to show it. And as Dan mentioned, if you have any feedback or any question, we would be really happy to.
Yeah. So we were going to have actually a IDE shootout this year, if it had been, you know, when we were planning the physical event. So still on the list of things to do for next year, but you know, we'll get all the major IDE providers to you know, have a plenary session where they can go through a number of tasks using the tooling, because I think as you say, the momentum is shifting for the early career and the next gen engineers coming in, not to learn ISPF necessarily, but to use the tools that they're familiar with. So I think that might be an interesting opportunity to actually see them all in action against one another. So hopefully we can all come together in a nice competitive way if the world ever returns to some normality. So any last questions from attendees, please feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll relay them. If not, do you want to go back one slide for the contact details for you guys?
Yep.
There you go. I'm sure they'd offer lots of guidance and deeper dive into those opportunities. So 4BB was the session for feedback. Please do that. As there are no other questions, I'm going to end the session and have a great last day at GSE. Thank you very much.